Alright, so before I get started with this story, I'm going to let y'all know how the whole atmosphere was so you can get a better understanding of what happened. Alright, now, I'm at St. Clair Correctional Facility. St. Clair Correctional Facility is one of the worst prisons in the state of Alabama. It's a maximum security prison, and 80% of the population at this prison is not going home. What do I mean by not going home? They don't got no EOS date. They don't got no parole date. They got either life without, or they got multiple 50-year sentences or multiple 100-year sentences running wild. What do I mean running wild? Running wild means consecutively. That means they've been charged with multiple crimes and they receive different sentences on those crimes, and they're back to back. Like, for instance, you get a 50 and you get another 50 and you get another 50 for 3 different crimes. That means after you serve this 150, you got to start on your other 50. After you serve the next 50, then you got to start on the other 50. So technically that's 150 years. And then you got, concurrent. Concurrent means you might have got 50 years for each one of these cases, but it's concurrent, meaning it's together. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I'm dealing with. 80% of the population at this prison ain't going home. So you can only imagine, what's going on at this prison. Motherfuckers getting high. Everybody, looking to try to get something for nothing. Motherfuckers trying to run game. Of course, there's a lot of, underlying activity. Y'all know what I'm talking about going on. But mostly it's people getting, jacked for phones, and people getting jacked for dope, and motherfuckers getting high, and the police don't really care, and the ones that do care might be too scared to say something or do something. And it's like the prison is built. It's like rooms, and it may be one big cell block with, different cells or whatever. So it's not an open bay. You can go in these cells. Like when you go in these cells and lock the door, the big cell, the door got a roll. If you ever been to a prison like this, it take probably a minute for the door to roll back. So when they hit the button, it roll back real slow. So if somebody's stabbing you or something going on with you, you got an emergency, it's going to be a minute to 2 minutes before the police can even get inside the dorm to get inside your cell or wherever you at to even get you up out of there. Most of the time when something going on, the police are not going to come until it's over with, because they ain't trying to, at the end of the day, we dealing with, these are COs. These ain't even police. We all know the police be scared, but these are COs. These ain't even real police. They like the police inside a prison, so they damn so scared. They ain't trying to risk their life for nothing or nobody. They trying to make it home to see their kids, which, who can blame them or judge them for that? I totally understand that. So, at this prison, it's a lot going on. And me, I always been a shark. But when I get here, it's like everybody is shark. You know what I'm saying? You got this one dude over here, he love to get high. You got this dude over here, he love to rob people for phones. You got this dude over here, he'll kill you about this, about this boy. That's what we call them, in Alabama, boys or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's crazy. You really got to watch your back, and you can't trust nobody. And it's like a lot of people that's walking around that are very unstable. So at the time, I got a whole lot of time. I'm young, in my 20s. I ain't gonna say fresh in prison. I probably been in prison like 3-4 years. But I end up going to St. Clair because I had to take a program. Now this program called TC, those who know, this is the only place, this is the only prison in the state of Alabama that had this program at the time. So I was trying to, speed my time up, so I had to take this program. And the only way I can get this program was go to St. Clair. Before I got to St. Clair, I heard about it, but some stuff you can't really understand until you experience it. When I got to St. Clair, I immediately noticed that the atmosphere was completely different. The air was thick. It's like it had a real death feeling to it. I don't know
why inmates at the St. Clair Correction Facility are dying. The group says during the last 10 months, 3 inmates have been killed inside that facility. And during the last 30 months, 5 have lost their lives. The Montgomery-based group says stabbings and assaults are to blame. So it's calling for a new warden to oversee the prison.
I don't know how to explain it, but you could just tell that you was in a place where if you didn't move the right way, you could become a casualty. I get to St. Clair. They send me down to what they called at the time R1. R1 was the program dorm. All right, now, to get to R1, you got to go through this tunnel. The tunnel leads you from the G yard. The G yard is where the regular population at, and all of the dorms, or the, most of the people that got life without, to the industry and R1, where I was sleeping at. Then you got lockup on the other side. Walking through this tunnel, I done seen at least 3 or 4 people get knocked out. I done seen people get stabbed and everything in this tunnel by guys hiding in these blind spots, waiting on guys, certain guys to come so they can do something to them. You would think they would have cameras in this tunnel, but they don't. This tunnel is probably the most dangerous place in the whole prison, because this is where everything go down at. I get in, I get settled or whatever. Now, the dorm that I'm in is pretty much a little bit more laid back because it's a lot of programming going on. And it's guys down here that really got a chance on going home. Some of them still got a lot of time too, but they got a better chance on going home than the guys on the G yard do. So I'm there for like 2 days. One day, I'm walking out of the tunnel. I'm coming from R1 to the G yard. Now, the chow hall is on the G yard. So you got to go through this tunnel. From where I'm from, you got to go through this tunnel to get to the chow hall. I'm approaching the chow hall. The chow hall is like, as soon as you get out of the tunnel, it's like right there. I'm walking towards the chow hall. I see a dude run past. Blood go everywhere. I got blood on me. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers looking crazy. But then everybody get up out of there. Everybody get little. You know what I'm saying? Why everybody get little? Because one thing about prison, just like on the streets, when some shit go down, you do not want to be no witness. Something like that happened, and they launch an actual investigation, like on the streets. And if you was there, one thing about it, you going to become a part of it in some type of way. Whether they calling you in the office and asking you what happened. If you don't tell them the truth, they trying to lock you up. If you don't snitch, they trying to lock you up. But then again, if you do snitch, the inmate's going to do something to you. So it's a messed up situation that you don't want to be in. Then on top of all of that, the number one rule in prison is mind your business. If you don't got nothing to do with this, do not become a part of somebody else's situation, because you will do just that. You will become a part of somebody else's situation. You will be the one that end up catching all of the flack from some bullshit that you ain't had nothing to do with. So that's the number one rule in prison. Mind your business. If it don't got nothing to do with you, don't add yourself to the equation. For real, it's going to end bad 95% of the time. Anyway, so I see this. Dude run past. He sliced this dude's throat. Now, everybody get up out of there or whatever. I go to the chow hall, act like ain't nothing happened. I start eating my food. A couple minutes later, we hearing police running. We hearing walkie-talkies going off. We hearing, they hit a little buzz or whatever. So it's like, damn, the shit that hit the fan now. But at the same time, in my mind, I'm thinking like, damn, what did I sign up for? Like, this shit, because the camp I just came from, there was a lot of shit going on, but these are lower level, custody people. So, ain't nobody really trying to just kill nobody like that. Only thing people doing at this camp for real is talking on phones and, trying to go in other dorms to gamble, play poker, trying to get tattoos and stuff like that. So, it's nowhere near as bad, but I'm realizing like, damn, like this like the second or third day I'm here, I'm realizing like, damn, man, I might have got myself into some, into some real shit. Dude had got his throat slit. The dude that got his throat slit, come to find out, he had killed the dude that slit his throat. He had killed his uncle or whatever. And they ended up sending him to the joint, and he ended up at a prison with this dude's nephew, and hey, he did it to him. I'm in this situation, I'm like, damn, like this is fucked up. But it is what it is. I'm already here. Ain't no telling how long I'm gonna be here. When you get to max camps, they is not with just sending you here and sending you there. You got to be at these max camps at least 3 to 5 years. So I know it's over with for me. I'm laid in. So boom, if anything come my way, I'm gonna get me something to take care of myself with. You know what I'm saying? Something to fight with, and I'm gonna go with it. It is what it is. I actually ended up joining the Nation of Islam. I ended up becoming a lieutenant in the Nation of Islam. Because they said I was studious or whatever. So I actually ended up getting the attribute. I was also cool with the Nation of Gods on Earth, which my attribute ended up being Messiah. They said either I would be the one to save many people or I would need to get saved. You see what I'm saying? So they said either you gonna work your attribute or your attribute gonna work you. But as I get more accustomed to my situation, it's really kind of like the best time I ever did. You know what I'm saying? Certain police will mess with you, but most of them just cool and laid back because I ain't really trying to go back and forth with no inmates. Then at this prison that I'm at, an inmate will get down on the police just as fast as he'll get down on another inmate. It's one of them type prisons. So, I'm in the Nation of Islam. I actually got a little juice right here. I'm on a little prison basketball team, so I'm having fun. I ended up in the custody trailer because I ended up my custody ended up lowering, so I ended up getting in the custody trailer, and I ended up being able to go outside the fence. Everything looking up for me. I'm still mingling with guys on the G yard, guys that I know in certain situations to where you might have to go on the G yard. If you're trying to buy a phone, if you're trying to at the time they had green dots. If you're trying to cash a green dot, you got to go to the G yard. You know what I'm saying? Because this is where everything's at. This is where your cigarettes at. This is where all your items in at. This is where, most of your phones are at. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go to the G yard. Later on, I ended up on the G yard. Well, actually, before I went to the custody trailer, I ended up on the G yard. But that's another story. A guy that I was cool with, I ain't gonna say his name, but a guy that I was cool with, he was a real knowledgeable dude. He the one taught me a lot of the stuff that I know. He the one, he would get a lot of books. He had a lot of books. He had like 200 or 300 books, and he would give me a book. He would tell me, all right, you got 7 days to read this book, or if he would give me a book that kind of resembled a study guide, he'd be like, all right, now I'm gonna double the days on this book because I know that it's impossible for you to get everything out of this book in 7 days. He was like, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks, I'm gonna give you 14 days. He was like, but I want you to take notes. And then after you get through with the book, we gonna go over what you learned from the book. I'm talking about a real good dude, but he also had juice up there. He had a lot of guys that was under him that would do anything he tell them to do, in any situation, no questions asked. And the guy also, even though he was knowledgeable or whatever, he had a lot of time. He had life without, so he sold dope. A situation came about to where a guy that he was dealing with this guy for a reasonable amount of time. The guy ended up getting caught with some dope. So after the guy gets caught with the dope, he pulls a Lil Woody. He tells the police everything. So after he snitched, the police come and, take down the brother operation. Now, this is when I realized that the police do not respect snitches. After they took down the operation, a couple weeks later, one of the COs ended up telling the brother who ratted on him. So the brother didn't take this lightly at all. So what they did was they end up somehow tricking the guy into a cell and they tied the guy up. They beat on this guy, man, for days. And I really be thinking, like, how did they even do this? Because every day they count us. Either the police had to be messing the count up, or they just really was on some I don't give a damn shit, like, for a couple days. Because if this count ain't right, they usually do a recount. If the recount ain't right, then they go to, looking for who's missing. Days went by with this guy being tied up in a cell, getting beat up, and the police never missed him. It was about maybe 5 or 6 guys involved in this, and they beat the shit out of dude. They beat dude so bad, he ended up dying. They beat dude up for days. While he was tied up, he ain't eat nothing. They ended up leaving dude up under a rack, up under a bed. In prison, we call beds racks. They end up beating dude up and leaving him up under a rack, tied up or whatever. When the police found dude, he was about 17 different colors. The reason why they found him, dude's body was starting to deteriorate. He was starting to stink. So he had, he not only did he get beat up for some days, his body had to be sitting in there for a little while, before they actually found dude. So when they find dude, they locked the whole camp down. Boom, they locked the camp down. They trying to figure out what's going on. It's a real investigation going on. They ended up finding out who did it because of the situation that came about. Dude snitching on them. That's how they ended up finding out who did it. The crazy part about this is, when something like that happened in prison, there's not only an internal investigation, there's a free world investigation, meaning the police, the real police, comes into play, and you can get charged with murder. That's one thing about prison. If you don't know, you can do certain things in prison, and you can get free world charges like stabbings and killings, and you do that in prison, they're literally going to give you a free world murder charge or a free world assault charge, and you'll literally be going to court for that while you're in prison. That's a fact. So the investigation sparked. These dudes, they end up finding out who did it or whatever. The dudes end up beating the case. They still got wrote up, as far as the institution, and got shipped to different prisons, but they beat the case. And I think a lot of them, a lot that had to do with them beating the case was the police not respecting people that tell, like, for real, So I say this all the time, and I say it again: mind your business. If you out here doing this and that, and you get caught, hey, take it how it come. Do your time. Lock up time on the street, whatever it is, guess what? Just do your time. You knew what came with it before you indulged in it. And if you didn't, you the dumbass. Straight up. Real talk. The police, in or out, do not respect snitches, and eventually you are going to get exposed. Now, whether the person that you told on is willing to do something to you or not, that's another story. But these guys was old school, and hey, it did not end how he thought it was going to end. He ended up losing his life for telling on some guys about some shit that they had going on in prison. Real talk.